Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is your good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio, and it's just us two tonight. Unfortunately, Michael Bullock and Dee Dee Wilson will not be on the show here tonight, and well, tonight, guys, we got a very good show. We got Smackdown Live, basically the fallout from the Money in the Bank, and yeah, and we really got nothing else to go, so we're just gonna dive right in, kick off SmackDown Live, and we started it off, with Otis, the Mister Money in the Bank. This was Miz TV. Um, I'm just gonna say this was all right. I get it. I understand why. Look, first off, they needed to talk to Otis. Otis is Mr. Money in the Bank. He won it. As far as the segment goes, it wasn't good at all. Otis is charismatic. He's a decent talker, but I think this is not his cup of tea right now. I don't know. I feel like Miz and Morrison kind of hijacked the segment. I think they were more into it than anything else. And I get it. He's supposed to be fun loving, kind of an individual in the whole 9 yards. I just don't think this really worked. I hope it gets better in the future. I'm not really high on it. Tucker's kind of more of the mouthpiece. Otis is kind of, the comedy skit guy, everything else. To make him a legitimate threat or a contender, I don't know. But they did throw the challenge out later in the evening. Miz and Morrison versus Otis and a partner of his choice. I mean, we'll get into that a little bit later on, but nah, no, honey, no. As Luge would say, this was not a good jump off. Anthony, lackluster at best.
Agreed. Well, I'll tell you, MF. Unfortunately, Otis's charm only goes so far. Without Tucker to be his wingman, the Dozer is not as good at being a solo act. Otis is a great character who is already popular. His charm will get him a long way, but he needs to develop his character a bit more if he hopes to be a singles star. The Miz losing his mind made perfect sense for his character. If Otis gave any indication that he knew he was being mocked, this might have been a better segment. One interesting thing to note is how Otis talked about growing up with a learning disability. This is a very relatable situation that will likely endear him to more fans who have dealt with the same thing. So that's all there is to say on that. I agree with everything you said, MF. Not the best way to start, but starting with this is where the show actually starts to turn the corner in a good way.
Oh, yeah, certainly indeed. Okay, so now all you guys are wondering what happened on SmackDown. Well, during the week on WWE Backstage, there was an announcement that Sami Zayn was stripped of the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, and we actually didn't know why. There hasn't been a reason why Sami lost the belt or why our good friend Vacant has the Intercontinental title in his possession. But an 8-man tournament is going to determine the next Intercontinental Champion. We had 2 of those matches here tonight, and we started it off with Elias going one-on-one versus Baron Corbin, and the winner of the bout and advancing to the semifinals, Elias wins the match in 16 minutes and 7 seconds. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Would you be surprised if I was considering this for Fight of the Night? I mean, this was a very good match. I mean, all right. Going into this, I had no desire to see this match because I thought, oh, it's Corbin against Elias. This is going to absolutely suck. Oh no, this did not suck. Early on, yeah, but as the match progressed, it actually did get better. And but to be honest with you, I can only give it the second best fight of the night. There was one match that I personally thought was better. Corbin and Elias are two superstars who do not get enough credit for their athleticism and versatility. The King is a great heel, and Elias is just as good at playing a heel or a babyface. This rivalry has been a slow burn over the past several weeks. This was a solid chapter, but it doesn't feel like the end of this feud. This bout lasted longer than expected, but not in a bad way. Both men came away from this contest looking like strong competitors, and this was the best either competitor has looked in weeks. So I got to give this about 3.25 to 3.5 stars. I got to call this the second best fight of the night and the sleeper fight of the night. I did not think this was going to be any good. I thought this was going to be a slow, boring match like these two have been used to. But I'll tell you, MF, this match was even better than their Mania bout. So, congratulations to Elias. He advances. I like what I see in the bracket. I mean, he's going to go up against the winner of the match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Monday Night Raw's phenomenal AJ Styles. Oh, yes. My man from Monday Night Raw has entered himself in this tournament because he's never been an Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. But at the same time, I am a little concerned because I'm worried that if he wins if he should win the title, that might mean Raw loses AJ and MF. Could you imagine if you get the phenomenal one back on Team Blue?
Oh my God, I'm salivating over the opportunity of that. Styles versus, wow, AJ back on SmackDown. That would be awesome. That would absolutely be a shot in the arm. And it would be, dude, Nakamura and AJ next week. How crazy is that fight gonna be? Oh man. All
Amazing.
right. I mean, yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. I gotta say about 3 stars. It was the second best fight of the night, sleeper fight of the night. I can't believe they pulled that off. I mean, these are two guys that you never ever think was going to be that good or relevant or anything else. And they not only gave us a passable match, but if it wasn't for one other fight that happened later in the evening, you could have called this fight of the night.
Yeah.
You could have, easily.
Absolutely.
So, alright, so let's just move right along. Next up we had was Dana Brooke and Naomi. Dana Brooke wins the match in less than 2 minutes, in 1:40. Okay, I think what it is, and we don't have to rate about the fight. This is a non-rating. It was way too short. We already know that. Is it possible Dana might be the next contender for the title? Is she the next challenger of the month for Bayley?
Maybe.
It looks like it. It looks like it. Because she had a pretty good performance in Money in the Bank. Yeah, there was that moment where she thought she won it, but no, sweetheart, you didn't win it. I would have gone bonkers if you would have won it.
Of course.
But you didn't. It was the wrong briefcase, love. It was, like Anthony said, it was the sale of the century briefcase, not the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, bud.
But it looks like she's really working herself up to possibly be the next challenger. And here's another thing. I don't think she's ever gotten a title shot at a championship.
I don't believe so.
I don't ever remember her going for the Raw or SmackDown women's title. So this would be her first ever opportunity at the said title. So, I mean, that would be pretty awesome. Great opportunity for her. So, I mean, we'll just move right along. We'll just move. Next up we had, well, I wish Michael Bullock was here. The NXT Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair, returns to SmackDown, and the Queen was reigning the building. Well, until a certain SmackDown Women's Champion took umbrage. And, believe it or not, it leads to a fight next week, guys. Bailey versus Charlotte, 1-on-1. Dude, this this was the segment of the night. Charlotte was Charlotte was Charlotte. Charlotte did what she needed to do. She got over. Her promo was excellent. Bailey was the snot-nosed champion as that we know and love. So this was an excellent segment. This was segment of the night for me. I got nothing else to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll say this. Going back to the previous bout with Dana and Naomi. One very quick thing that needs to be addressed. Dana and Naomi, they looked like they were preparing for a long encounter by keeping the pace steady. So the fast win there was a little jarring, and it looks like WWE is going to keep those two involved with each other for the time being. And you noticed Naomi looked a little frustrated after the loss. So could you say potential heel turn down the road?
It's possible, yes. Looks like it, yeah.
And she can work as a heel. We've seen her work as a heel before.
Yeah, and did pretty well with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of Team Bad with Sasha Banks and Tamina. But anyways, getting back to this, man, yeah, this was great. I mean, this was indeed the segment of the night. I mean, the Queen being the Queen. I mean, bragging about her lengthy resume and her last name being Flair and the whole 9 yards, and then Bailey and Sasha come out and do their thing. Now, some are saying that this was not as entertaining as it should be because these were two heels going back and forth, and there was nobody to really root for. Now, all three of these four horsewomen, of course, who the fourth one is, but we're not going to be seeing that one for a long time.
She's gone for at least a year.
Damn shame. But anyways, Bailey, Sasha, and Charlotte, they're all great performers. They've worked together countless times over the years. I mean, they brought their magic from Monday Night Raw over to Friday Night Smackdown, and the seeds have been planted for Sasha to turn on Bailey again in the future. We know that's coming, but you know what the target date for that is, and that's a little event called the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. So they're saving it for that. And perhaps Dana Brooke could be the next challenger of the month for Bailey. Maybe it's very possible. But next week, MF, I mean, you've got a loaded show next week. I mean, you've already got the phenomenal AJ Styles against Shinsuke Nakamura in one Intercontinental Tournament match. And now we're going to throw this in there, Bailey versus Charlotte, champion versus champion. There's two other matches, but we're gonna save that for later on. So, but man, I mean, looking at the show that SmackDown's got next week, I mean,
it's a loaded show.
For the first time in a long time, as a Raw guy, I'm actually a little bit worried because
yeah.
Raw doesn't really have anything. All they announced was Asuka. Can she handle the pressure of being the Raw Women's Champion in the latest chapter of the Edge and Orton saga? Who knows what else they're gonna have? We're probably going to have to free swing it come Monday night. But for right now, Friday Night SmackDown is going to be...
It's very top-heavy. Yeah, it's very top-heavy.
Absolutely. And here's one of the reasons why. Bailey versus Charlotte. A lot of history here. Bailey can say that she beat Charlotte Flair for both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships.
Yeah.
The Monday Night Raw in Las Vegas, February of 2017. We'll never forget it. When Bailey became champion for the first time on the main roster, and then the two times that she beat Charlotte last year. You remember, we're coming to just north of a year ago at the Money in the Bank event in Hartford when Bailey won the women's Money to Make ladder match, and then just a short time later cashed in on Charlotte to win the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then took that same title from Charlotte again on back in October on a Friday Night SmackDown. So a lot of history here. We'll see if these two can deliver one more time. So, segment of the night, hands down. Everybody was great. So, Nothing more to say, MF, except we went from a big man, be a man fight in our first tournament matchup. This next tournament matchup, right up my alley. Technical, scientific wrestling at its finest, right here.
It was Daniel Bryan going one-on-one against Drew Gulak on the other half of the bracket, the winner of the bout, and advancing to the semifinals and awaiting the winner of Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. And oh, by the way, that match is also next week.
Oh, man.
Daniel Bryan wins the match at 12 minutes and 47 seconds. Anthony Florio is all yours.
Fight of the night right here, MF. I mean, these two absolutely delivered. You could rank it right up there with the match they had at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in March, back when we had fans in the Yellow Delph in Philadelphia. But I would give this about 3.5 to 4. This was everything one would expect from two amazing performers like Bryan and Gulak. They are on a different level than most superstars when it comes to their pure wrestling ability. Everybody knows how good Daniel Bryan is, so it has been great to see him dedicate time to making sure the world knows that Drew Gulak is just as talented. This is the kind of match you need to see for yourself. There wasn't a single missed spot or botched move. Everything looked great. And I'm going to take a page out of the American Idol vocabulary book here. This was a professional wrestling masterclass here tonight. And as someone who absolutely loves technical wrestling, especially the two men who were responsible for jumpstarting my love of it, that being the Nature Boy Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in their epic series 30 years ago. So matches like this would make the Nature Boy and the Dragon proud. It had the feel of a Flair Steamboat classic. A few more minutes, it would have been right there with Flair and Steamboat, because every match they had was never less than 5. So these two on their way. 3.5 to 4, without question, the fight of the night. And MF, I mean, think about this. It doesn't matter who comes out of Hardy and Sheamus. I mean, we're going to get a good match either way. I mean, Bryan and Sheamus, they have a lot of history. We all know that. They feuded over the United States Heavyweight Championship in 2011, leading to WrestleMania 27. They had a lumberjack match that got thrown away, got turned into a battle royal. But then, of course, what we best know these two for, WrestleMania 28, when Sheamus buried Bryan in 18 seconds for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, and then that epic 2 out of 3 falls match they had at the Extreme Rules event a month later. So, Bryan and Sheamus have history, but at the same time, MF, I mean, Bryan and Sheamus has been done. I kind of want to see Bryan and Hardy. How would those two?
Wow. I mean, that would be absolutely insane. I mean, Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma, and Daniel Bryan. Ooh, that's a dream fight right there.
Amen.
I think that would be a dream, because it's really the technical wrestling of Daniel Bryan with the high-flying theatrics of Jeff Hardy. It would be absolutely crazy what these two guys would do. I mean, Daniel Bryan probably going after Hardy's legs, trying to take him out. Hardy going high air, trying to basically mobilize any ground attack that Bryan tries to bring to the table. This would be an insane fight. And I think one that the crowd would absolutely enjoy.
Indeed. So
I agree. 4 stars, fight of the night. And, well, the final match that's going to get added to next week's top-heavy loaded show, well, it's coming ahead, guys. Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler versus Otis and Mandy Rose in a mixed tag.
About time.
It's happening. It's going down next week. Florio, like you said, it's about time. And in our main event for tonight, it was Miz and Morrison versus Otis and the mystery partner who ended up being the Universal Champion himself, Braun Strowman. Oh my God, where's the beef?
Oh,
I mean, okay, Otis is 3 bills, and Strowman's easily three bills as well. So think about that. There was almost 600, almost 700 pounds combined against Miz and Morrison. Yeah, I think we know how this ended. Strowman and Otis wins the match in 10 minutes and 27 seconds. 2.5 stars, 2 to 2 3/4. This was solid, not bad. This was alright. Good match. Then Mandy came out to celebrate with her man Otis, but then Otis turned and it looked like he was about to jump Strowman. Was he thinking? Now Otis is like, oh no, I'm just kidding, brother. I'm just kidding, It's all in fun. It's all jokes aside. I don't know, bro. You got money in the bank. Strowman had a momentarily lapse of weakness. Now I know Mandy's a beautiful woman, but Strowman, you almost made a humongous mistake. Never turn your back on the Money in the Bank holder. You almost got yourself got tonight. Careful, 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 careful. The next time you do that, Strowman, because you could get laid out and the moment could have been there tonight. It was there. If Otis wanted to pull the trigger, he could have. So this got very interesting. My eyes lit up when I saw Otis kind of giving that look. Like I was like, is he really gonna do this? I think fun-loving Otis. I think with Mandy in his ear and the whole 9 yards, man, she might bring him to the promised land. I think she might, because all of a sudden Otis he went from fun-loving to he got real serious when Strowman turned his back. Like I honestly thought he was gonna jump him. Florio, it's yours.
I kind of thought the same thing, MF, in the back of my mind as I was watching. But 2.5 to 3 stars, third best fight of the night here. This was a predictable match, but it did have some fun moments. It's great to see WWE following through with Otis's push by pairing him with the Universal Champion Braun Strowman on SmackDown. Strowman being wily enough to know he should watch his back was a nice detail to add to their first interaction backstage. Now, this was not the best fight of the night by any means, but it was a good way to end what I feel was the best Friday Night SmackDown show, not just of this Performance Center era, but also of 2019 altogether. That's how good this show was tonight. And if you thought tonight was good, oh boy, wait till you see what happens next week. I mean, both Intercontinental matches have potential to be show stealers, with Hardy and Sheamus and Styles and Nakamura. You're going to throw in Bayley and Charlotte. We know what those two are capable of. And then the mixed tag, the most emotionally charged and the most personal mixed tag team match in history. Way more personal than Savage and Sherry against Dusty and Sapphire. Way more personal than Sable and Mero against Goldust and Luna. Those two set the standard, were the standard bearers for the mixed tag team match concept. This one, if all goes well, could be the greatest mixed tag match of all time, but it needs to deliver. So that's really all there is to say on this. 2.5 to 3, and boy howdy, I mean, MF, I mean, could you, as Mr. SmackDown, could you imagine Otis as a possible Universal Champion and face of the show?
Man, I can't believe it, man. I you know what? When I think I'm starting to think about it now, because I wasn't thinking about it until what he did tonight. It's very possible. It's very possible now. I think it could be there. Otis could, he could have it all. He could have it all now. Mandy and the Universal title? Damn.
What I wouldn't give to be Otis right now. Oh my word. To be the champion of the world and have who I consider the most beautiful woman on the roster right now.
Oh, she's stunning. Absolutely.
Oh, unbelievable.
She's a stunner. And I think a lot of fans would probably agree with you on that one about Mandy Rose being one of the most beautiful on the WWE roster. No doubt. I don't think there's going to be much argument from the peanut gallery, to say the very least. So this was excellent. This was a good SmackDown, boys.
Very good.
That's what I wanted to see.
About
That's
time.
what I've been waiting for, fellas. Come on, let's go. Wake up. And you finally gave it. Fox is going to be happy. I'm ecstatic. I'm ready for next week. You guys, I mean, I think we finally turned the corner a little bit here. I think we finally figured it out when it comes to SmackDown Live. I think we finally got all the horses I think all the stars aligned and all the horses are now in the stable. We're all good. We're gravy right now. We can celebrate tonight on this one. Yeah, we had one little mishap at the beginning. The Miz TV. Yeah, kind of a little bit of a letdown, but it all in all, we're not gonna hold too much on that. But dude, Anthony, I think SmackDown finally has woken up, and I think we finally woken up from our long little slumber. If that's the case, look out. Here we come.
It's about time, man. I mean, I that's what I want to see. I mean, it's kind of like a role reversal in a sense, because it's like with you being the Chris Benoit and me being the Eddie Guerrero, that epic backstage moment they had at WrestleMania 20. That's what I've been waiting for, Holmes. That's what I've been waiting for, to see this fire, man. That's what I've been hoping to get out of this show for the last several months. I mean, you had that epic show back in November, in Buffalo with the takeover, with NXT and all that, because of the Saudi debacle. And now, and since then, SmackDown had been, they're putting together average and mediocre shows almost week after week after week after week. But tonight, with this show, which I will be rating 8 to 8.5. If I were to put a rating on this, it would definitely be 8 to 8.5. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about this. I mean, the opening segment, yeah, that was rather meh. And then you also had the that way too short match with Dana and Naomi. If you had given that a little more time, then maybe we would have been talking 9, perhaps. But it's 8 to 8.5 for me. I mean, Bryan and Gulak. I mean, what else is there? What else is there to say? I mean, they stole the dang show tonight with their great matchup. Elias and Corbin surprised the hell out of both of us. I mean, we didn't think that thing was going to be any good, but color us surprised. Solid main event, and then you throw in that fantastic segment with 3/4 of the 4 horsewomen, with Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha. I mean, wow. Friends, if you thought this show was good tonight, wait till you see next week. You already know the lineup. The other 2 Intercontinental matches. Bayley and Charlotte add to their legendary rivalry. And then the most personal mixed tag team match in history. Next Friday night cannot get here fast enough. That's all there is to say on that. And I'm hopeful that next week, Michael Bullock and I will be having our SmackDown chat. We didn't have it tonight. Bullock had a special commitment. which is all wonderful. I'm very happy about that. But boy, howdy, he and I would have had a lot of fun with this show tonight if we had had it. But that's all there is to say on that. Hopefully, we'll also have Dee Dee with us as well, because that's a huge show next week.
Oh yeah.
And then on top of that, we're also going to be talking about AEW's Double or Nothing next week.
Yeah.
Oh my word! What a night we're going to have next Friday. That's all I can say. Let us get there now. That's all I can say. And Raw, well, you're only promoting Asuka's journey as the Raw Women's Champion in the next chapter in the Edge Norton saga. Fine and dandy, but we need some other things to get us hooked. For the first time in a while, as a Raw guy, I'm actually starting to get a little worried now. Well played, SmackDown. That's all I can say. I mean, yes, it's nice to get the moment over you guys. It's nice to know when Team Red gets to celebrate a golden moment and whatnot, celebrate brand supremacy. But MF, I think for the first time in a while, Raw's a little bit on the decline, and SmackDown might be back on the rise again. And if the phenomenal AJ Styles, so help me, if AJ Styles wins the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, MF, the face that runs the place, is coming home.
Yeah, he does.
And I know how happy that would make you, because you were so devastated when you lost in the Raw last year. So, oh boy, I mean, you could have this freak Otis as a future face of the brand with the Universal Championship, with the big blue belt, and one of the most hands down beautiful women in the entire world. And then possibly, only if he wins the tournament, possibly could get AJ Styles back to be the face that runs the place again. Oh man. In the immortal words of Alfred E. Newman of Mad Magazine, what? Me worry? This Raw guy says, yeah, me worry a lot.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, and we'll find out next week what happens. All right, guys, so that's it. We're done for tonight. On Monday night, like Anthony said, it'll be once again Ridiculously Raw, as we'll go over and recap Monday Night Raw. And I think the Tony's Take will have Impact Wrestling.
Yep.
And yes, Anthony, I did see it. We need to get into this. Kimberly versus Havoc.
Yep.
What in the world? Princess! I don't remember you doing that when you were in Beyond or in Chikada. That was definitely not you. What? We'll get into that on Monday. 11 p.m. after Raw goes off the air. And then Wednesday night is Wednesday Night Mayhem. And 1 week from tonight, we're going to be back here for another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk. Guys, programming note, 10:30. We're going back to 10:30s on Wednesday and Friday nights. So 10:30 next week, guys. And it looks like it might be a permanent. We won't know for how long it's going to be, but we're going back to 10:30, folks. So get ready to burn a little bit of the oil, the midnight oil. Hopefully we won't. But next week is going to be a big show, because not only do we got SmackDown Live to talk about, we got AEW Double or Nothing. This is the big one, boys. So we'll get into that next week. So for Anthony Floyo, this is going to let Michael Fletcher. We'll see you guys next week. And so long, everybody.
Goodbye.